Is there parity in the CFL? Oh yes. There is parity in the CFL. Welcome inside Game Day After Dark. The BC Lions go into IG Field tonight and absolutely have their way with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Final score, BC 30, Winnipeg 6. Good gracious, they really had themselves a day against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Let's get it right into it. We're going to bring in our good friend Zach Schnitzer, who is not wearing his chain tonight. What's going on, Zach?
They don't deserve the chain, Darren. They got embarrassed at home. We haven't seen a performance like this in years. 30-6. 6 was a number that they were favored by. And I lost some money too, because I took them in our midweek pick'em challenge, buddy. Wow. They got absolutely owned. I am in shock right now.
Yeah, it was a dominant performance by the BC Lions, and the people I want to draw attention to tonight, and great to see everybody in the live chat. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for waiting. Hey, it's after dark. This is your therapy session tonight, if you need it
Yeah,
tonight.
you need it.
The two names I want to draw attention to, Zach, is Ryan Phillips, defensive coordinator of the BC Lions, and Jordan Maximic, offensive coordinator of the BC Lions. We'll talk about the pressure the defense put on Winnipeg's offensive line. We'll talk about Vernon Adams Jr. and Alexander Hollins and everything going really smooth and efficient and effective for the BC Lions offense. But those two individuals, and I will say Jordan Maximic, maybe most notably, because he has done it year after year. He did it with Michael Riley. The next year, he did it with Nathan Rourke. And the next year,
Good point.
well, he's starting to do it with Vernon Adams Jr. VA looked so comfortable again. They shut out the Elks in week 2. They beat up on the Calgary Stampeders in Calgary in week 1. And now they come into IG Field, a place the BC Lions have not won in since 2017.
Yeah.
John Liu at TSN interviewed TJ Lee after the game, defensive back of the Lions. You were a member of that team. I don't remember anything from that game. That's how long ago it was. Like,
That was John Jennings' territory.
yeah. Nearly 6 years ago. I think it was August 2017. Speaking of August, Thursday, August 3rd. Okay. Thursday, August 3rd, 2023, coming out of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers week 8 bye, the BC Lions back in Winnipeg, blue and gold with a chance for redemption. I can't imagine in any way, shape, or form, before we get into all the details of it here on Game Day After Dark, Zach, that this is going to leave a good taste in the Blue Bombers' mouth, you know?
Yeah. Well, let me just circle back to something you said, Darren. You talked about Jordan Maximic and Ryan Phillips. You talked about coaches. And I think you did that for a reason, because I think if your team comes into IG Field and not only beats the Bombers, but embarrasses the Bombers that have won 2 out of the last 3 Grey Cups, that simply don't get beaten at home. There's got to be something to be said for being outcoached.
Yeah.
I right?
Yep. I was just incredibly impressed with the BC Lions game plan. Like, they had an answer for everything Winnipeg threw at them on both
Yeah,
sides of the football. The pressure BC was able to create on defense,
yeah.
the different looks they gave the Winnipeg offense. Matthew Betts played out of his mind, right?
Oh,
Canadian defensive end, draft pick of first round draft pick of the Edmonton Elks a number of years ago, comes over to BC in free agency. He was so good. And like the holding penalties, the procedure penalties, the pass interference penalties, those all aid. Those 2 pass interference penalties on the first BC Lions
yeah.
drive of the game. Okay. It was rookie Abu Daramy-Swaray with a 36-yard pass interference penalty against Alexander Hollins. That brought BC from the their own 54 to the Winnipeg 20. It was then a 2-yard run for Taquan Mizell, and then a pass interference penalty to the other corner on the other side of the field, Desmond Lawrence, who I know a lot of people are talking about tonight. That brought them from the 18 to the 1. So 36 and 17, 54 yards in pass interference penalties on that first drive. There's a
Yeah,
reason
sign
that
of
was,
things to come.
yeah, it really was. Just an
Yeah,
awful series of events. A 15-yard roughing the passer penalty on Blue Bombers Canadian rookie defensive end Anthony Bennett. He had time to let up, decided not to, at least the way I saw it, my opinion. That was a costly penalty. Procedure penalties are avoidable. It's not
yeah.
like you're on the road and the crowd noise is deafening and you slip. Those are avoidable. The CFL live stats off tonight. We talked to Commissioner Randy Ambrosi prior to kickoff. He's in Winnipeg right now. Said we expect it to be better tonight and better in the games moving forward, and that the CFL stats system will be much more ready, game ready. I know we're in CFL week 3, but be much more game ready in early July. It wasn't tonight. I don't have penalty numbers on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I just don't. I don't have it.
I At some point in the game on the jumbotron, they had us down for 50 yards in penalties, which
It
that
was
was
way more than that.
it was more than that, and that was
Because
only
it
I think
was
in the third
it was
quarter,
50 it was 54 yards on that
just on
first
that one
drive.
drive. Yeah,
So those were off too. I believe Winnipeg had 9 penalties.
that's
Like,
an incredible number.
what is Mike O'Shea thinking right now? Holy cow. 9
Yeah,
penalties for a team that is usually so incredibly disciplined.
yeah. Well,
Um
that just goes to show you everything was off.
yeah.
Areas where you don't see the Bombers usually struggle, like penalty yardage, they're usually superlative in the penalty department. They usually beat teams in that area.
Love the female voices that continually join us here on Bonfire Sports. Awesome to see that. Football's for everybody, and the more female voices, in my opinion, the better, because they are a little bit underappreciated, underrepresented when it
Yeah.
comes to football conversations. Hey, 95% of our YouTube audience is male, sometimes 97. So when someone like Cindy comes in, I presume Cindy, great comment. And I would like everyone else's opinion on this. Cindy, watching live on Facebook, what's going on? It was easy for the Lions to look good when the other team didn't show up. Do you agree with that sentiment, Zach? Other people, I would love you to chime
Eh,
in the live chat. Great perspective from Cindy tonight.
Well, I mean, in terms of performance, yeah, the the Bombers did not show up. I think they gave it their college best, their college try, but
Did they?
I from what I saw, the guys were working hard, right? They were working hard, but in terms of performance, they didn't show up. I mean, I would be, and maybe I'm wrong. Like I'd have to rewatch the game, but I'd be shocked if the bomb. Like I'm shocked that they lost, but I'd be even more shocked that they didn't show up in terms of effort, Darren. I mean,
Jo-
that
John Campbell also watching live on YouTube. What's going on, John? Pardon me, watching live on Facebook tonight. No, give credit where credit is due. The Bombers got beat by a good team.
yeah,
Uh, I agree with that. I think this was like, look, the Bombers lost 30-6,
yeah, it's a drubbing, buddy.
2 field goals in the first half.
They
30 to
got shut out
6.
in the second half.
When's the last time you heard that happen? Zach Collaros lost his second game at IG Field since joining the Winnipeg Blue Bombers late in 2019. And that
Yeah.
was a overtime loss to the Toronto Argonauts last season, or 2021, either way. Um,
Yeah, no, 2022 last year to the Montreal Alouettes, and that we only lost that game because uh, Mr. Legg shanked
mm,
a very makeable field goal that he only needed a single point for. I mean, that wasn't on Zach, but this, I mean, they don't lose at home, buddy. They lost one time last year because of a fluke by Legio. And in 2021, they didn't lose at home once. It's crazy. But I guess there's a regression to the mean. I guess the party has to end at some point. The cops show up at some point when the party gets too loud. Mom and dad are away. Teenagers get booked, right? The party, there's a bunch of big mess at the home front. Mom and dad come home. They're pissed off. I don't know. Cole McGarvey. Hello, Cole, from Coast to
Yeah.
Coast Gridiron Podcast.
Oh,
Good
is that
friend of
right?
ours.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
good
friend of
good to
ours.
see
I
you,
was on
Cole.
his show a couple times.
Yeah, that's right. And sorry I missed you this week. But Zach, am I getting it mixed up? Is that the right?
What's that?
Am I getting it mixed up? Is that the podcast you did this week?
Yeah, Coast to
Yeah, yeah.
Coast Gridiron. Him and Noah.
Right. Well, Cole says, watching live on YouTube, what's going on? Lions fan here. Although I'm enjoying the victory, if I was a Bombers fan, I wouldn't worry too much, says
Mm.
Cole. The Bombers will continue to roll next week and for the rest of the season. Little dose of sobriety from somebody who's maybe not hurting so much tonight. Hey, clear mind, clear heart, all of that, those football movie cliches. But yeah, winning solves everything, and it also keeps the mind clear. Um, I like John Campbell's comment here. Sup DB, sup Schnitzy. What's up, John? This is a great thing for this team. Early season beatdowns, early season
It's sobering, I
humblings,
guess. Yeah.
humblings.
You look in
Maybe a
the
good
mirror and
thing.
you have a bunch of bumps and bruises on your face, everything's swelling up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could be sobering. Here's the thing. It could be really good for this team because you don't want to peak at the beginning of the season and throw up
No.
40 burgers every game, right? That's one thing, but the way that they got beat, when I think about it in concert with the way that they got beat in the Grey Cup, which is to say that the O line was exposed in both of those games, Darren, as a fan, that starts to concern me because, like, to what extent is this Ferrari have little rust spots? You know, like I use rust as a metaphor because they're getting older. And are these young D lines are they going to continue to expose the O line, or is this just an aberration? Is this a blip? It'll be something that we have to see. Oh, DB, I can't hear you, buddy. Did you mute yourself
I
again? Are you
did.
that
I
you
did.
muted yourself?
I've been clearing my
You gotta stop
throat.
doing that.
My camera's out of focus. Everything's wrong
Everything's
tonight.
everything's
Everything is
wrong for the
wrong.
Bombers, wrong for us.
Oh, hey.
I don't know that we got fat and sassy as a team.
Yeah,
I
Troy watching live
maybe
on Facebook. The Facebook viewers are out tonight. We obviously got way too fat and sassy as a team, says Troy. Worst game in years.
I agree. Worst game in years, Troy. I think that's a point well taken. Fat and sad. Again, maybe it's just my bias. I can't imagine that a Mike O'Shea coach team with guys like Biggie in that dressing room policing that they would ever get fat and sassy. But then again, maybe psychology tells you that sometimes you get desensitized. Sometimes it can happen to anybody that you sort of rest on your laurels. But I have a hard time believing that's the reason they lost. Just my take.
Cole pointing out the pressure on Zach Collaros was
Yeah.
for sure the most shocking part of watching tonight. I completely agree. It it occurs to me that this BC Lions defense, like I've been talking about the back end of the defense and Gary Peters and
Yeah.
TJ Lee and
Yeah.
Marcus Sales, who everyone here in Winnipeg is very familiar with. Ben Hladik has been really good at middle linebacker as they moved on from Jordan Williams, sent him to Toronto. Bola Combo, reigning CFL most outstanding Canadian at the weak side spot. And nobody's really been saying much about the defensive line. What do we know about the BC Lions defensive line coming into this season? Sign Sean Lemon makes you think, okay, they're signing, the elder statesman of the CFL, can produce some pressure, give you a sack a game, maybe spot duty, that sort of thing, rotate in. Then they cut him and signed Jonathan Kongbo. And then that's not a mix. You and I talked about it at length, I think, in our first edition of Bonfire Midweek here on the channel.
And if I can
And
interject, Kongbo is looking like he pulled the short end of the stick there.
yeah, well, yeah, he's on a winless Ticats team now. But hey,
Yeah,
he's getting a paycheck. He's playing pro football. Things could be worse.
sure, sure. Go ahead, though.
But the BC Lions move on from Sean Lemon to get Jonathan Kongbo. Then they trade Jonathan Kongbo,
Yeah.
and they're okay. They're definitely okay. The
They're
D
okay
line
for the
looked
tune of second
good.
7 sacks. My
Yeah,
God.
the D line looked really really good. Look at
And
that.
they
I
only
could.
rushed Bruce Martell is a good comment. He counted that the O-line was beaten 3 times with a 3-man rush. I didn't know it was 3 times, but I noticed at least twice BC Lions rushed 3 guys
Mm-hmm.
and sacked Zach Collaros. That
uh,
has got a stick in the craw of that O-line when they watch the film tomorrow.
7 sacks for the BC Lions tonight. When's the last time you heard of that? Matthew Betts with he's the Canadian with the French name,
Yeah.
so that's a hattie for
Yeah.
Matty.
Yeah.
Manny Ragumba with a sack. Nathan Cherry, Tahuma had a sack in the first half. David Menard with one late in the game. It was really kind of just a tough night at the office.
Yeah, it was. I gotta blame it on Michael Couture.
Really?
He has all no, I'm just kidding. He took all our secrets to BC. I
Did
see
he?
someone else. Oh, Ferkmeister says that as well. No. Actually, it was nice how we honored Michael Couture.
Yeah, I like
They'd
that.
had some nice thing on the Jumbotron and thanking him for his service to the tune of 2 Grey Cups. But listen, how angry are the Bombers going to be in CFL week 4, Darren? Like that'll be like, are they just gonna go lay a licking on the Montreal Alouettes in Montreal on Canada
Canada
Day?
Day, baby. Go
We'll
out there, you
we'll
handle
see.
business, and then you can enjoy yourself in
Yeah, in
Canada's Sin
Montreal,
City, right?
absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
how angry are they going to be watching the film tomorrow? They should be angry.
Speaking of the film, let's take a quick look at this. Here is Zach Collaros in shotgun and just outstanding
Oh yeah,
pressure getting to him. That was Matthew Betts' second or third sack of the game. But again, just allowing us to take a look at, Betts split Jeff Gray and Stanley Bryant. Like,
yeah,
watch it here. Right edge, splitting Jeff Gray and Stanley Bryant, and Jamarcus Hardrick having a tough time with his assignment there as well. It was I've got a handful of clips here that we can watch. Well, here is here's some good news. Okay,
yeah,
here's some good news in Celestin Haba. Remember I said it a week ago. Learn that name. Haba coming off the left edge and just absolutely bull rushing his way to the
yeah.
quarterback. Doesn't get to take him down, but they kind of mercy blew it dead. Here's Haba on the left side. Uh,
And Haba has what 3 sacks in three games. His first 3 games in the CFL. That's impressive.
yeah, he's looking like a heck of a player, but flashes of a couple good plays in overwhelming dominance of the BC Lions dominating tonight by a score, as you see on the screen, 30-6.
Yeah,
6 points for a team that has scored 40 plus the first 2 weeks of the season. 6 points for an offense that people were raving about, myself included, you included, Zach, all week, all season, talking about
absolutely.
the comfortability, talking about the gel, talking about the continuity of Buck Pierce and Collaros and the O line and everybody. Brady Oliveira, game time decision, and what did we see? He got the first 2 touches and 3 of the first 4 touches of the game, and then on the second possession, he was also involved in the pass game and the run game. Excuse me. He was no worse for wear. This Blue Bombers team wasn't particularly injured. The
No.
BC Lions were particularly injured and had to travel on a short week. And they
Yeah.
came into Winnipeg and put their foot on the Blue Bombers' throat and didn't let them breathe. 6 points and scoring 30 at
Yeah.
IG Field. It
Yeah.
was just, there is a new parity in the CFL. There's a new parity here.
Well,
Get
we and
used to it.
midweek,
The
Darren,
lines
we
are
were talking
legit.
about tiers. We were talking about tiers, and would the Bombers,
A tier of their
establish
own.
themselves as in a tier of their own? Well, the only tiers were the fans, the fans shedding tears. I mean, Cabillas.
Taco in a bag sucks, says Kyle. Great joke
Is that
from
what
Jeff
everyone's saying?
Cabillas.
Well, that's not the only thing that sucked tonight. But we were
Yeah.
talking about them being in a class by themselves, Darren, head and shoulders above the rest of the BCs, the Torontos, the Calgarys, the Saskatchewans, and could you say now that BC is in a tier by itself? Because not only did they beat us, they handed us our lunch.
You gotta crown the kings, right? You gotta crown. You know how King's Court works. You beat
Yes,
If you beat the king, you get the court. It's yours until someone beats you. So looking forward to the rematch on Thursday, August 3rd at the Madhouse on Matheson. I
indeed.
expect fans to come out looking for redemption as much as the Blue Bombers do in that game. But yeah, the BC Lions knocked off the standard, as Lions players referred to it, the class of the CFL, as I have referred to it for a long time. BC deserves every piece of um, every piece of admiration they're getting right now.
Yeah,
That's maybe not the
yeah.
word I'm looking for, but they deserve all the credit right now.
They
Vernon
deserve all
Adams
the
Jr.,
accolades.
the
Yeah.
defense, top to bottom, looked excellent.
Vernon Adams looked like he had a century back there to throw the ball and
Hmm.
survey the field. So it's not only that our own line got owned, their O line either played well or our D line didn't have a whole lot. Like we talked about Haba having a sack, Clemens had a sack, but um, that was kind of the aberration. He looked like he had all day back there.
Thoughts on the Blue Bombers offensive line? Daryl, I think I pulled up his comment a second ago about, yeah, there it is. Daryl watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Daryl? Good to see you. The O line worries me, says Daryl. Hardrick and Bryant have a lot of miles on them. Uh, they sure didn't have too many miles on them the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just comes down to getting outplayed, getting out game planned. But of course that's going to be at the front of concern if this continues. If this continues, was this an aberration, as you asked, Zach? Was this a blip, or is this the beginning of a shift in powers, not just in
Yeah.
in the West, but in the CFL?
It'll be very interesting to see how BC continues to play, Darren. I think they play Toronto next.
Mm,
Um, it'll be interesting. That's all I got to say on that. By
yeah,
the way, King's Court,
that is
isn't
bright.
that a dodgeball game? I re-
Dodgeball, volleyball, a lot of stuff, lot of court sports.
King's Court. I remember playing King. Wasn't there a game called King's Court in dodgeball when I was a kid in gym class? I seem to remember playing King's Court.
Yeah, well, that
It,
was the only thing that got you off climbing the rope. CFL Week 4, Edmonton at Ottawa, Winnipeg at Montreal, BC at Toronto. BC
Yeah,
3-0 at Toronto. Well,
we'll
1-0
probably be
right
2 and
now.
0.
They've still got they got to uh who is it? They're in Edmonton. So let's just call them
Yeah,
2-0.
yeah, I think so.
I don't normally like doing that, but when it comes to our SIA.com/bonfire picks this coming week, I know you and I are going to be fighting over who maybe gets to pick
I'm
that
already
game.
0 and 1 this week, Darren. I picked the Bombers at -6. I might have even put a couple units on it.
Yeah, I think I talked you into putting a couple of units
I
on it
think you
instead of
you
one.
talked some smack to me, and I
Mm,
I
yeah,
just I took
not
the bait, buddy.
Not just
Yeah,
gym
I
rope
put
smack
2 I
either. Like
put
I'm
2
giving you,
units on it. So now, since I put 2 units on it and I was beating you by 1, you are officially winning our
dude. It's the
Bonfire
first
Sports
game of week
Pick'em.
3. It's the first game. You can't say I'm winning. That's not how it works.
You're
It's just your
winning.
game came first.
Yeah, you're still winning. You're winning. I
Uh,
just feel like a loser tonight. I'm losing everything.
Zach, I know you speak for many, I won't say all, but you speak for many Blue Bombers fans out there. No chain tonight. You are not celebrating.
I'm
You're outside of
unchained.
that normal celebratory mood. Uh,
Yeah,
some people left the game early tonight. Some people, are really down on their team right now. Big picture, dose of reality. Here's the opinion of someone objective in myself. Um, this is good for the Blue Bombers. This is good for the league. This is really, really good for the CFL. And nobody wants to have one team that just dominates everybody. Okay. And I understand that, hey, DB, it could have been, it didn't have to be 30-6. It could have been 30-21. We would take a 9-point loss. It could have been 30-18. We could take a 12-point loss. Sure, I get that. But this Blue Bombers team is not suddenly bad. This Blue Bombers team is not suddenly no good. Okay.
right.
They are like, when it comes to the power rankings, it was Winnipeg 1, BC 2. Everybody had that. Some people had Toronto in there. Sure. They played one game. BC has shown dominance over the bottom dwellers in the league in a 22-0 win at home to Edmonton against Edmonton last week. They showed a pretty strong performance in week 1 in a win in Calgary. I think the Stamps are not a bad football team. And the BC Lions really, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes in CFL week 1. It was the first game of the season, if I'm not mistaken. And in the entire league. And now they come into Winnipeg and really, really flex on everybody's expectation of the class of the CFL, the standard that the Blue Bombers set. So now we can have that conversation where, maybe Winnipeg isn't number 1 in the power rankings. Well, not maybe. They're not. They lost to the number 2 team in the power rankings. So now we can start having conversations about parity and about, well, BC beat Winnipeg and Winnipeg beat so and so, but can so and so beat BC? Or, it's a good thing. And Winnipeg is no doubt still in the mix. I'm with you, Zach. I'm pretty sure this is a blip in it all.
I'm hoping it's a blip. I really am. Although sometimes teams just match up well against other teams. Like maybe BC, this year's version of BC, really matches up well against Winnipeg. But yeah, I mean, they didn't even have Dominic Rhymes and Keon Hatcher.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're missing Kenny Lawler for sure, but those are two
Alexander Hollins was really good. Javon Katoy made some nice catches.
lucky Whitehead.
Yeah, Lucky climbed the ladder and pulled in a nice one in the second
Yep.
quarter.
Yep.
Hey, this is football, baby. This is why you love it. Any given Sunday, any given Thursday night. And, love the comments. Everybody really fired up around the bonfire tonight. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it a lot. Zach, do you want to get into our Wallabies Warrior?
Sure.
I gotta
Let's
get a
do it.
better sound effect for him. Oh yeah, that's what we did last time.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, it was hard to pick a warrior. I mean, I know Desmond Lawrence was picked on, but I liked what he brought. I thought he kept trying. I thought he kept his nose to the grind, even though he got beat a few times. He had 2 pass knockdowns. So I will give my Wallabies warrior to Desmond Lawrence.
Hmm.
I think it's hard when you're getting beat that bad to keep your nose to the grind and keep working. And I thought he did, to be honest. I thought he kept working. Yeah, he had 2 tackles. But yeah, he had a couple knockdowns. I thought he looked good. So I'll give him my Wallabies warrior.
Okay. Uh, It's a tough one. You know what? I'll give it to Zach Collaros because he didn't have a lot of time to operate tonight. If I have to
Right.
pick a Wallabies warrior from the Blue Bombers, I'll give it to Zach Collaros. Tough day at the office. We'll congratulate Zach Collaros on his 100th career CFL start tonight, and early in the game eclipsed 25,000 passing yards for his career. So that's my Wallaby warrior tonight.
Very good. And what about your bonfire burning point, buddy?
Oh, you know, because it told the tale of the story, because it told the tale of the game. It told the story in the penalties, right? I don't know how many yards. It was probably over 100 because you had 54 pass interference yards on the opening BC Lions opening drive, the second possession of the game, the opening score of the game. 54 pass interference yards. There was penalty after penalty. Like forget the ones that the BC Lions declined. Way too many penalties tonight. No doubt Mike O'Shea is going to be talking about that. Maybe first and foremost in film breakdown tomorrow morning. And oh yes, the Blue Bombers will be at work tomorrow morning looking at the film. They're going to talk about penalties. So because that told the tale, I will say my bonfire burning point tonight was Alexander Hollins drawing 2 pass interference penalties on the opening BC Lions opening drive of the game. 36 yards to rookie Abu Daramy-Swaray and 18 yards that set the Lions up on the one. That was Desmond Lawrence on a end zone target off the arm of Vernon Adams Jr. Dom Davis, the former Blue Bomber, he punches it in. Goal line specialist,
Ooh,
big body QB that he is. That was my bonfire burning point tonight. The penalties and those two
yeah.
in particular just fueled the Lions right from the start.
Well, and you know what, Darren, I think that's a good one because it was certainly a sign of things to come, right? That things just weren't going to go our way that this tonight. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how accurate Adams was. He was about 60%, 66%, reasonable. I
Pretty
think he
good.
was 20 of 30 for about 234 yards. But
I don't
my
trust I
bonfire,
don't trust these stats. I just don't.
yeah, well, that's fair. Maybe, yeah. When I looked at the stats, that's what it said. But maybe they're not quite on. Maybe he was more accurate than they suggest.
But 20 of 30, 66%, 67% for 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's a
good.
quarterback, that's a QB efficiency rating of 113.3. Anything over 100 is real nice.
Yeah,
High
yeah,
120s is perfect. So, um, yeah, I'm with Travis. BC putting the league on notice. No question.
yeah.
No question. The BC Lions have Toronto next week in Toronto. They then are home to BC, where Winnipeg is home to Calgary. Week 6, the BC Lions are on the bye. Week 7, if I can pull it up here, just to walk us through. Home to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That'll be an interesting game. Week 8, the BC Lions are in Edmonton. That's July 29th. And then week 9. Oh,
Mm.
week 9. Kicking off week 9, Thursday night football. Thursday, August 3rd. BC at Winnipeg. Rematch right back where the massacre of late June started. Uh, I'm looking
The
forward to that
massacre.
one.
Yeah, me too.
It was a massacre. It
The
was a
massacre
massacre
on
tonight.
Matheson.
They kicked the crap out of them.
Yeah. No, I get it. The crap is strewn all over the pavement. It's been kicked out.
It's your boy Bruce. Watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Bruce? It's your boy.
uh,
Boys got to hold the L. What an embarrassing effort was like watching a Jets game. Oh, it's your boy Bruce bringing it tonight.
ouch. I like Ishaboy Brew. I don't remember Ishaboy from last year. Are you a new
Oh no, he was here last year.
was he?
Yep.
He's been here all year this year, but I didn't know he was there last year. My
Yep.
bonfire burning point was in the second quarter. It was 10-6. It was pretty close game, and Adams hit Hollins to go up 17-6. Hit him for a touchdown,
Mm,
and at that point, it pretty much continued to roll downhill.
yeah. Yeah. That's your burning point.
That's my burning point.
Okay. Westwood's wide to the right. Myriad
Okay.
of selections tonight.
Yeah, there's so many. It's very wide to the right. There's so many things, including those blue pants, Darren. Those were the blue pants that go with our third sort of color rush jersey, which have sort of medium approval from bonfire fans, from bomber fans. They're kind of lukewarm with the big W on the front. I did not, from the very beginning of the game, I did not like how they looked with the I
The
did not
color
like how they
rush.
looked with the home jerseys. I got to say that.
Yeah, the
Um,
color rush. That's what the NFL used to
yeah,
do, right? Those Thursday night
yeah,
games or the
yeah,
Christmas games, whatever it was, where it's like color on color.
yeah.
Kansas City would wear red jerseys, red pants, and the Jets would wear green jerseys,
Green,
green pants
green.
with a green helmet, right? Um, I did like the fact that like it's blue on blue, but it's not blue helmet as well. And same with BC. They call it's called fog gray.
Yeah,
It's their
okay.
new road alternate this year. I think they wore it at home in their home opener just to show them off a little bit. Hey, got to get the cash registers chinging
I don't
chinging.
know how many people are going to buy a gray jersey, but okay,
I don't
okay.
know. I disagree. I had a buddy, my buddy Mitch. What's going on, Midge? Maybe you're watching tonight. Him and I love talking about sports aesthetics. Aesthetics, the look, the
Yeah,
the fashion, the different visual of pro sports, logos, jersey colors, all this stuff. And he thinks, I agree with him, that the gray or the silver as a base tone to uniforms is underutilized. I think it's a good look. I like it a lot. But to the color rush conversation, blue on blue for Winnipeg with the gold helmet as a contrast, gray on fog gray for the BC Lions with the black helmet as the contrast. I like it. But with what we saw tonight, I can assure you, August 3rd for the rematch at IG Field, the Bombers will not be wearing blue pants.
bring back the gold pants. That's why they lost, baby. That's why they lost. No, my real wide to the right. I guess I'd have to give it to the O line. Not for lack of effort, but they just got owned tonight. Like we were talking about, Darren. Even when the Lions rushed three defensive linemen, they got at least two sacks, maybe three, and that's when you know. I mean, you're outnumbering the D line 5-3 in that case, and you're still giving up a sack.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're giving up a sack on Colaros, who's a guy who's very, very agile and skilled in the pocket, right? He can get outside, he can step up. He like Zach, there's nothing he could do really.
Gregory, what's going on? Gregory joining us live on YouTube. Burning point for me, says Gregory, was the worst CFL officiating in the past 5
Wow.
years. Uh, while that may be, and I am not saying definitively one way or another because I do not like getting into too much about the refs were bad tonight. I'll talk about a call, I'll talk about multiple calls, but that's just not how I'm going to approach my job. Um, that said, the CFL officiating tonight had nothing to do with it being a 30-6 drubbing of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I I wonder what Gregory give us some context there. I'm not sure what he was just from the stands. I didn't see anything that was egregious in terms of the officiating.
Hmm.
Um then again I was drowning myself in beer for a few plays here and there, so maybe I didn't see it. But Darren, did you see anything? Not that it was the reason they lost, but did you see anything from the officials tonight?
Nothing too egregious. Like I was at the game for the first half and then I raced home at halftime.
Yeah.
And by race home, that is drive
You
under the
drive
speed limit.
responsibly, my friend. You
Yes,
only go 10
absolutely.
kilometers an hour above the speed limit like the rest of us.
Right. Well, more like 7.
Okay, 7.
Yeah.
No, you're very
If that.
responsible
If
then.
that. Um, and I'm signaling too because I'm a good Winnipegger. I'm signaling. I'm
Oh,
zipper
you
merging and I'm
signal.
signaling.
What?
Oh yeah.
You're not a
Oh yeah.
Winnipeg
I'm
driver.
signaling
What are you
and I'm
talking
zipper
about?
merging, baby. Wake
You're
up,
not a Winnipeg
everybody.
driver.
Wake up. Uh, uh, no, I didn't notice too much with the officiating. The fine to Adam Bighill from last game for hitting Riders short yardage quarterback Shea Patterson. That one, like I get it. It's helmet to helmet, but it's the top of a pile on a short yardage play. You're effectively saying it's kind of a catch-22. Big Hill, if he wants to be effective, he needs to find a way to contact the ball carrier. But the only way to do it is at the top of a pile, and it's helmet to helmet. It is against the rules, so he got fined. Um, all of that, whatever. Don't want to talk about the officiating. The only thing I'll say about the officiating tonight is my Westwood wide to the right is Winnipeg's lack of discipline, because the penalties, like PIs happen 2 in a row. Well, crap, that sucks. Okay. But roughing the passer, procedure, holding, those are all avoidable. They're all avoidable. Well, not like sometimes they're tough on a roughing the passer. You can get like a margin call, but Anthony Bennett's was avoidable, in my opinion. The procedure, the holding, all those, it wasn't the Winnipeg Blue Bombers night, but it definitely did not help that
Yeah.
they were so incredibly undisciplined with, I think, 9 penalties, well over 100 yards. Um, I'm pretty dang sure.
My only question to that, I can see with the procedure and the roughing the passer, but holding, doesn't holding sometimes happen though when you're just being outplayed and you're losing leverage?
Yeah, it happens.
Like, is that avoidable, or are you just being outplayed? So, a guy is rushing you faster than you can block him and you hold him, or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Uh,
Well, hey, you ask Chris Walby, or you ask current players, former players, coaches, whatever. The old adage in football is that there's holding on every play. If you really micro analyze it. Um, hey, Winnipeg's discipline, I think it kind of it's almost like a snowball effect where,
yeah.
you get a procedure and then you get a hold, and then, you allow a sack. So then a hold happens on the, a play or two after, if you feel like that's going to happen. Um, Avoidable. Mike O'Shea ain't going to put up with this. He ain't going to put up with it. I wouldn't want to be in those meeting rooms tomorrow. Um,
Yeah.
Wanted to draw attention to John's question here, watching live on YouTube. What's going on, John? A question I get a lot. Uh, why are our defensive backs playing 15 yards off the ball? Asks John. Uh, Watch the game tomorrow. Okay. Watch Montreal Hamilton. Watch Saskatchewan at Calgary on Saturday, or watch Toronto at Edmonton on Sunday. And I know they don't show it all the time on the broadcast. It's tough because they really focus on the quarterback and the middle of the line, really wherever the quarterback is. But this is not uncommon. Okay. Winnipeg plays it's not prevent defense, but they play a much more passive, off the ball, non-press coverage. Okay. There's zone defense. There's elements of man within that defense to keep it layman. And I have to, because I'm no expert on the X's and O's of defensive systems. Okay. But I think so often fans see a game going the wrong way, or seeing a game go the right way, like last week against Saskatchewan, but Trevor Harris throws for 400 yards. And it's, well, why are our DBs so far off the ball? You're allowing them to take this underneath stuff. The strategy, you and I use, like we've used the term here on Bonfire a lot, Zach, right? 3D chess. And sometimes you want to ensure you don't allow the home run shot. You
Yeah.
don't allow the deep balls because your safety is coming up to cover a quarters zone in the middle of the field, or cover a quarter zone or a third zone in at the second level, like just behind the linebackers, or you're blitzing somebody and that safety's coming up. So you need to play off the ball because there ain't nobody helping you on the back end. You don't have that safety help. You don't have that zone help. So yeah, it might look like it on a play or two or 10, or it might even look like it almost on every play, but there's strategy there. So,
Yeah. Well said.
that happens. It's a tough thing to explain all the time, but great question, John, and do my
Yeah,
best
it's
to
a very good question. I think a lot of
answer it.
yeah, I think that's well said. I think a lot of people sometimes question the Richie Hall defense has been, but don't break. But the other thing that Richie Hall is asked, he's challenging the opposing quarterback to march it down the field 10 yards at a time and not make a mistake, and banking on the fact that you're going to make a mistake at some point, which quarterbacks usually do, or an offense usually does, but perhaps did not tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, no
No
more
more
90s
90s
nights.
night.
No, full shout out to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who do a great job with their theme nights and that sort of thing. It was Pride Night as well. They're going to continue to do that, and good on them. Jeremy Lockstedt watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Jeremy? We need Kenny Lawler back ASAP, says Jeremy. Would that have helped tonight, Zach?
I don't think
Mm,
so.
no, of
I don't
course
think
not.
it would have done a damn thing tonight.
Uh,
This game was lost in the trenches. It wasn't lost because of skill players, but I get when you get pumped like that 30-6 at home, you're looking for any reinforcements you could get.
yeah. Gary, watching live on Facebook, has had a handful of comments here. Said the Bombers seem sluggish. Maybe they're reading their own news clippings too much. Uh, Wish they had
No
run the
way.
ball more than they did. But his question is, how would you rate Abu Daramy-Swaray?
It's a good question. I mean, I think he was picked on early, right, Darren? And I
Mm-hmm.
think he was nailed for one PI call, what that you were talking about in the first series. He didn't stick out to me as really struggling the entire game, but I wasn't really watching him. How did he look to you?
There were some plays I think he would like back, but not out of the ordinary, right? This is a guy who has played pro football before, but first time in the CFL, and it's all new. Live bullets are a lot different than a training camp or practice. He comes off the practice roster, and this is not an analysis of Abu Darame-Swaray, but this is Winnipeg's third string corner. This is
Yeah,
a guy that has not played in the CFL prior to tonight. Winston Rose on the sixth game, Demario Houston, personal issues, not football or performance related. I had some people asking me, is it performance related? No. Injury report, personal issues. Did not practice this week, was not on the field during practice. This is not a performance thing. If it was a performance thing, he'd be out there working. Trust me. Trust Mike O'Shea and the Blue Bombers. They'd be putting in work if it was a performance issue. And no doubt they're going to be doing it this week with everybody. But no Winston Rose, no Demario Houston. Here comes a guy off the practice roster who joined the team out of training camp. Abu Darame-Swaray. Tough night for everybody. But him individually, it's hard to assess. I know it sounds wishy-washy, okay? But
yeah,
you really got to look at like isolation film of him
yeah.
in coverage, and not just the times the ball was thrown at him. Was he a good tackler? Was he assignment sharp? Did he make mental errors? All of those things. Did you see his backflip during player intros?
Yeah, that was pretty sweet, actually.
Yeah, it got the crowd going. But what does Chris Walby say? Chris Welby shares an old story about Cal Murphy. And Cal would
Yeah.
always, or no, sorry, not Cal Murphy. I'll correct myself. Oh
Was it
gosh.
Dave Ritchie?
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Reading
I
my
know the
mind,
quote
Zach,
you're
like
gonna
a
say.
outstanding co-host you are. Um, Dave Ritchie used to
Yeah.
always say, you lose a game for every rookie you start.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's a good
where have the
point.
Blue Bombers had rookies this year?
Yeah.
Nowhere. Not starting. Well, they had to start one tonight and they lost.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
hanging
and
it on
no.
ADS, as many
I
call them.
mean, he
But
gave up that big 40+ yards PI on Hollins in the beginning of the game where, I think he grabbed him early, but other than that, the entire defense was owned, so
I need to
uh,
draw attention to this, Zach. Josh Wolf watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Josh? Good to see you in the live chat. Josh says, I have never liked that about Richie Hall's defense. Always a zone coverage. BC tonight contested almost every catch. We just let them catch, then tackle them. I don't understand why we don't adapt, says John Wolf. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the Richie Hall defense sometime when they give up points, they look like that. I think he has a point. Like you said, they sometimes play off coverage. Um, but there's a strategy to it. And like I said, I think the strategy is that they're not gonna let you beat them over the top and they're gonna bend, but they're not gonna break. They're gonna give up 0 1s or threes. That's what they talk about, right?
Yep.
They also talk about loose change, but I Richie, like I kind of am repeating myself. Richie Hall is banking that your offense isn't going to be able to sustain 10-yard chunks all the way down the field.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think history will tell you, at least in the last 3 years, that strategy has paid dividends, especially in 2021, where it was like a historically good defense.
Yep.
They rely on a four-man pressure, uh, Jeffcoat and Jefferson to get at the quarterback, and when those two are on, it works. Um, but I get his concern. I mean, when they lose, and it doesn't happen often, it's often something fans look at. And to be honest, I think when that happens, I think it's the fact that the pass rush doesn't get to the opposing quarterback. So it makes the opposing quarterback look good. And then you wonder, why are they playing so far off the ball? Well, it looks like that because the quarterback had all day.
Yep.
And Bennett and Haba and Jake Thomas and Ricky Walker and Willie Jefferson just didn't get in. They had a couple sacks, but they didn't get enough pressure tonight. He had all day, and if you give a quarterback all day, they're gonna pick you apart if they're decent.
Good point here by Patrick Adamek watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Patrick? Good to see you. D line needs help, says Patrick. No return time for Jeff Goat. No real backup lineman. Schmeckel, Fox, and Bennett barely got on the field, if at all. Well, they did get on the field because Winnipeg dressed one less D lineman. Well, no, so they activated Fox late because Brady Oliveira was good to go. So they did dress 7 D linemen. BC dressed 9. BC looked fresh. They looked much better than Winnipeg's D line. There were moments where Jefferson and Haba and Walker had a sack tonight, Haba had a sack tonight, where they were getting to the quarterback. Um, Tanner Schmeckel, rookie Canadian. Anthony Bennett, rookie Canadian. Those guys are important, but Winnipeg is without Teodric Hansen. Started the season on the 6 game, still not
Yep.
practicing. And Jackson Jeffcoat's now on the 6 game. So does Winnipeg need to start looking for a D lineman? Sean Lemon. Pardon
Yeah,
me.
that's been the talk. Looking for Sean Lemon. A lot of people wondering why they haven't signed him yet. Um, I mean, I'll give Josh Wolf credit. I mean, they have given up a lot of points each game, but I mean, the first game, Hamilton, that wasn't on the defense. That was three bizarre turnovers. But listen, I mean, if they keep giving up 30 points a game, it's something to talk about for sure.
Yeah. It's only one loss, says Dan Asham. Tico Napoli. Fans need to chill. 29-3 at home. Third loss in years. They'll be fine. Here's my Seinfeld brethren. Brian Mendel. Mendelbaum. 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 No?
You have to
Mandelbaum, right?
explain that one.
Well, it's the Seinfeld reference, right? Where it was, I bet you I can lift that TV all the way up over my head. And they all want to fight Jerry. The father, the grandfather, the great grandfather. No?
Well, what's the Mendelbaum thing though?
Well, that was what they would chant. Mandelbaum, Mandelbaum. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I haven't
Uh,
watched enough Seinfeld in years, buddy.
so my Seinfeld brethren, Brian Mendel, says it proves over and over, no protection. Don't care what quarterback you got, you will struggle. I agree with you, Brian.
Yeah, buddy,
100%.
it's never ideal to have no protection unless you've been snipped.
Jeff Cabillas.
What am I saying?
Basically thrown into the bonfire. See what I did there? Oh, yes. I think Zach Collaros was thrown into the fire a little bit. Maybe you were referring to the D line, but yeah, I mean, tough night at the office for everybody involved. And I mean, unofficial stats, Zach Collaros finished 15 to 26, so 57, 58%, 178 yards, no touchdown, had the one interception. Like
Yeah.
that Zach Collaros interception, that ain't on the quarterback, man.
No.
No way.
No.
Tipped up ball in the air off the fingertips of um,
Nick Dembski.
Nick
I
Dembski.
think
Thank
that
you.
that came out of his
Yeah.
hands.
Brady Oliveira, 52 rushing yards, averaged 5.2 yards per carry. Dembski had 58, 6 catches for 58. Agadosi, 5 catches for 61. And those two receivers, Dembski and Agadosi, had 3 second down conversions combined. No other receiver had a second down conversion tonight.
Yeah. And that Agadosi, that huge catch, I think it was 10-3, and we were on our own 1 yard line. That was another thing. We were on our 1 yard line. I think that was in the first quarter, Darren. And because of an illegal block, no, that's another one. That's another discipline penalty that we don't usually take. The illegal blocks or holding on the returns. That was uncharacteristic. But Zach flipped the field big time with a 47-yard bomb to Agadosi. And I think everyone in the stands was getting excited that the sluggish start, we'd finally woken up. We were going to come back. And we did get a field goal out of it. To start at your own 1 yard line and then get a field goal is pretty good. But it just that was the end of the scoring.
Waka Waka, aka Fozzie Bear, joining us live on YouTube. You know that reference, right?
I know that one.
Okay, good. Waka Waka says, "I'm just soured over this win. Is all. I think Waka Waka means loss. I'm just soured over this. Nobody seemed like they were trying.
Yeah.
Like okay. Christian O'Mel does sideline reporting for CGOB, and he mentioned post game how we know that this Blue Bombers team is resilient and they keep their chin up and they keep the energy high and they keep focused on, the next play and getting things in order. Christian O'Mel on the radio tonight mentioned how the Blue Bombers bench was really quiet, uncharacteristically quiet, something that really he hasn't seen before. And he's on the field pretty much every game. Every home game is Christian O'Mel. So everything was going wrong. It's the third quarter. You got 6 points. The Lions are moving the chains. Uh, and you know, uh, I can understand why the bench was quiet, but uncharacteristic night up and down the
Yeah.
field. You know what? Let's turn things around a little bit. What do you say? You
Yeah.
want to turn things around a little bit? Let's get into your happy
Yeah.
honker. It's time
My
for your happy
happy
honker.
honker is our Australian punter, Darren,
Oh, I like that.
Jamison Sheehan, who they like to call Jam. Now he couldn't get us out of a jam tonight, but he has a lot of tools in the toolbox. He had some funny end over end punts. He had some sidewinder punts. He had a 46.6 net yardage in punting. I was impressed. I thought
He's
that was one bright spot.
he's really good.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. I'm a huge fan of Jam Sheehan. Uh and the name. Good gracious,
Yeah.
love it. Why couldn't we dress more DL? Uh well who? Who are they gonna dress?
Yeah, Cam Lawson is hurt.
Cam Lawson is hurt. Just
Yeah.
pulling up Bombers injury report here. They've got so they activated Miles Fox. That's it. That's all they got.
Yeah.
Cameron Lawson on the 1 game injured list. He's been there for a few weeks now. Teodric Hansen on the 6 game has not started practicing yet. I think he can begin practicing next week officially as like week 4 of the 6 game injured list. But he's in casual fatigues during practice, and that's it.
Yeah.
Jackson Jeffcoat 6 game injured list. So
That's one that really hurts. The
yep.
Jeffcoat injury.
My happy honker tonight, and just for levity, I'll do it again. There's your
Yeah,
happy
we need
honker.
some levity.
Yeah. Happy honker.
Hard to find.
I don't have one tonight.
Yeah, I think Jamison Sheehan's the only happy honker.
Yeah,
We
no,
didn't even have great attendance. I mean, it's a Thursday night game, but
come on, man. There was nearly
25,000
30.
plus.
There was nearly 30,000. What do you
No,
mean?
buddy, it was 25. It was
No, 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 no,
25
no,
and change.
no, 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 no. Was
You
it?
left. You
I,
left. I
oh,
was there.
that's why. Yeah.
You account for 5,000 people, Darren. That's how great you are.
I'm gonna pull up the number here. Say something entertaining while I read this. Tough night
Let's see
at
how
the
long I
office
can
for
go.
everybody, man. Here is your final stats report, and they have the attendance right at the top. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, you're right. 25,662. That's so bright. Look how bright that is. Look at this. Ah!
Ah,
Crazy.
my eyes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You're right.
Do
You're
they
right.
not do they not get as good a showing on Thursday nights usually, Darren? I always thought Thursday nights were good, and like when you get into the summer because people don't have to miss out on the lake. We live in lake country here.
Yes, cottage country. Yeah, I was on with Rough Riders play-by-play voice Michael Ball today,
Uh-huh.
talking about that in the Thursday night games. Right, Thursday night
Yeah.
attendance across the league is way down.
Is
Friday,
it really, eh?
Saturday, yep. It's early. It's week 3, but I don't know if it's a Winnipeg issue tonight. Like, is it a Thursday night issue? Is it a lake country issue? I don't think it was any of those things. This was a marquee matchup, and the Bombers looked extremely good coming into the game. So
Yeah.
what I see is rain in the forecast during the day,
Yeah.
which may have, like, people make the decision if they're going to the Bomber game Thursday night or Friday night or whatever hours before. They don't like come home from work and be like, "You want to go to the game? Oh yeah, okay." And then they walk up and buy tickets. Those walk up like they sell thousands and thousands of walk up tickets every game. Thousands. Okay? They do not have 25,000 season tickets.
No, it's more of
It's
a
sub
like
20,000, and then it's a ton of mini pack owners and all these other things, and the walk up is thousands.
Is that
So I
right?
wonder if attendance took a bit of a hit tonight because it's rainy,
Yeah.
and then like, yeah, I understand the forecast, but that's not, people don't go, oh, well, it's raining. Oh, is it going to be raining tonight? Do you want to go to the game? It's like, it's crummy out, not going to the Bomber game this week.
Yeah.
Didn't
Well,
matter
that's
if they're
cool
playing
about blocking
Montreal
for
or
you.
Ottawa or BC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Christopher Met's comment here. What's
Yep.
going on, Chris? Watching live on YouTube. It's also week 3. Good to see areas of weakness now rather than late in the season when it can't be addressed and coached to fix. I like that, Chris. I think that's really astute. You want to get the kinks out early.
Yeah.
Little dose of reality. 18,000 season tick, says T Konapali. I think it's around there, pretty close, maybe a smidge under. Yeah.
What about our game balls, buddy?
Yeah. So no happy honker for me. Shout
Yeah.
out Cactus Jack Wells and the Happy Honker Award. But yeah, nothing happy tonight. Nothing happy tonight.
Nothing
Uh,
happy.
no. Game balls. Oh God, really?
Yeah, right. Have mercy.
Uncle Joey says, "Have mercy." Um, Vernon Adams.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matthew Betts.
Yeah.
3
Three
sacks.
stacks. Yeah.
Uh, those are my game balls tonight. I'll leave it at that.
That's fair. I'll chip in on the Winnipeg side. Malik Clements, 3 tackles, 2 special teams tackles, total 5 tackles, one sack. I thought he had a nice game. But Evan Holm, I think, is a bright spot in our secondary tonight that struggled. He had 5 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, and 2 knockdowns. And he was up against Justin McInnes a couple times, who has 6 inches on him. And Evan Holm was able to swat the ball away. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, I just think he's a pretty good player, Evan Holm, and I liked what he brought. He seemed to keep working all night, but
I like that. Nice
yeah,
pick. Nice pick.
yeah, I don't have a whole. I'm only going to give out 2 game balls. They're both on defense. I don't think I can. I don't think I can. I don't think I can rightfully give any to our offense tonight. They
Well,
stank.
Zach, you're on a limit this year.
I'm on a pitch count.
You are on a huge game ball pitch count, like significant pitch count.
Uh,
Uh,
well deserved. Well deserved.
load maintenance.
I shouldn't say our offense stank. I mean, that's unfair. I mean, maybe BC's defense was that. I think maybe BC's defense was
Maybe,
that good tonight. We'll
maybe.
see. You don't know. You don't know whether it was the BC defense or our offense that stank. You have to have a few more games under your belt to see some trends and tendencies. But
Yep.
I guess the big question coming out of this game, Darren, is, does this break the seal? Does this open the floodgates? Do other teams look at the video, look at the film, and say, "This is how you beat the Bombers," and we continue to struggle? Or is this an aberration? Is this a blip? That's the big question for me.
Yep. Uh, I really believe this is a blip.
Okay,
And
I
not
like to think
because
so.
BC like didn't deserve to win or that they're not a good team. But look, it's very easy to expect Winnipeg to win at home because they do it so often. Uh the just the way I look at it. This is the way I look at it, okay? Is that you're going to have bad days. You're going to have bad games. There's a reason why cliches are cliches because they're true. Any given Sunday, any given Thursday night, it's football. You don't play 3 games a week, you play 1 game a week. You don't play best of 5 or best of 7 playoff series. You play 1 game. You're not going to win every game. No team does.
Yeah,
No team does. No team in CFL history has ever finished with a perfect record. Okay. One team in NFL history has finished with a perfect record, and that was 50 years ago. Different time.
Yeah.
Smaller league, a lot of things. The
Less
Winnipeg Blue
games.
Bombers are
Yep.
bound to lose eventually. And is 30-6 the way you would expect it to happen? No, absolutely not. But it was a bad day at the office. Winnipeg took way too many penalties. BC, their defense was really good. Their offense clicked. Vernon Adams looks so comfortable. And we talked
Yeah.
about it right off the top, Zach. Jordan,
Yeah.
sorry, Ryan Phillips, their defensive
Yeah.
coordinator, masterful game plan. Winnipeg couldn't get anything going. And Jordan Maximic, masterful offensive mind. He's done it over and over and over again, and he's doing it with Vernon Adams Jr., Taquan Mizell. That offensive line protects so well. You look at it and you're like, who are these guys? Who are these guys? Broxton? Perkins? Pearson? Well, we know Michael Couture, we know Suk Chung, but those are just two guys on the interior, right? Who are these guys?
Yeah.
Well, they're the BC Lions offensive line, and they were the top-ranked offensive line in Week 1 by Pro Football Focus as a group. They're probably going to be in that conversation in CFL Week 3 because they looked really good tonight. Jordan Maximic is the coordinator that's putting it all together for the BC Lions offense. So huge credit to them. There's a
Yeah.
couple game balls, Ryan Phillips and Jordan Maximic.
Yeah. No, and I like what you said. He's now done it with Michael Riley. He's done it with Nathan Rourke. Now he's done it with Vernon Adams. And Vernon Adams, as many people may recall, was a pretty erratic passer. Pretty unreliable. Um, Threw a lot of bad balls in his day, and to see him now settle into, if those stats are correct, 66, 67%, 241, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, that's a pretty good night for Vernon Adams, as far as
Yeah.
Vernon Adams goes.
I was just looking at the Bonfire Hotline. Lots of people were lighting it up tonight. 204-816-TIPS, 816-8477. I noticed I missed a text from Farhan Lalji from TSN, a good
No
friend
way.
out in BC, just without telling tales out of school. Did not see that one coming whatsoever. Was something I don't think Farhan will mind me sharing that. But yeah, I mean, lots of people chiming in tonight. Holy cow! I've got 40 text messages on the Bonfire Hotline.
40. You're gonna
40.
explode with glee, buddy.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
You
Another
love
football
you love
reference.
those text messages on the hotline.
Uh, I mean, I wish I could get through all these tonight. I'm not going to be able to. But oh, you know what? A lot of those are people that were trying to get in on the golf passes,
Oh yeah, fair
right?
enough.
Marshmallow.
Yes, marshmallow.
Yeah. Easy to see why Jonathan Kongbo was expendable. Great defense,
Yeah.
even better game plan and execution. No name. When you text the hotline, leave me your
Ah, give a
name. I don't got you in my
name.
contacts.
Give a name.
Uh, so this is James. This game reminds me too much of the Earl Lunsford era Bomber teams that
Ooh,
just gave the opponents 2 points consistently. I don't know who
that's
Earl
going
Lunsford
back.
is.
He was a GM back in the day.
Okay, must have been a player too. Yeah, awesome to see everybody in the live chat tonight and on the Bonfire Hotline. Waka Waka is fired up, no
Yeah.
question. Go find Gizmo. Try to have a better Friday and a better weekend, Bombers fans. Hey, that's why we're here to help you
Yeah.
talk through it.
Yeah, hopefully this was therapeutic, Darren. I feel a bit better. It's just one game. I'll enjoy the rest of the weekend. Hopefully people are getting out to cottage country. You know.
Waiters wants me to read all the texts.
Okay, waiters.
Like
I
it's
gotta go
it's
to bed,
it's
waiters. We
waiters,
can't read all the texts.
but it's waiters.
Yeah, I know. He's got a great YouTube page. He's a great fan. He's a great participant here on the chat with us. So I don't know, read a couple more for waiters.
O-line looks like Swiss cheese tonight. No name. They left it there. Why didn't the Bombers challenge the lucky Whitehead catch? Penalties against the Lions on the play. BC converts second down. Okay, little minutia there. That's fine. 9 celebrating way too much for a too late sack in a beatdown. That would be Ricky Walker. This is Robert. This is Comet. Fired me texts all through the game. I love it.
Nice
Bombers
comment.
defense isn't as good as last year so far. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be true.
Yeah. Don just got home. Good to see you, Don.
Don,
Thanks for
buddy.
timing in. I'm with James in the Peg. Chin up, Blue Bombers. It's week
Okay.
3. It's a long haul here, right? No team is perfect
It's a
or going
marathon.
to go perfect. This Blue Bombers team will rebound. If we know one thing about them, it's that they are able to constructively rebound from a bad game.
Yeah.
And all credit to the BC Lions. They are the kings of the castle right now. They're in the king's court. I love how Winnipeg has a shot right back at them on Thursday, August 3rd. But you and I will talk more about this, Zach, on Bonfire midweek this week. Back to
Yes,
Wednesday
sir.
night. We're back to Wednesday night.
Yeah, we're back to our regularly scheduled programming, my friend, and
Okay.
by then the chins will be up, and this too shall passes, and all the other platitudes will be laid down on the tables. Right? We'll be
Yeah.
good.
And you'll have your sober second thought.
Yeah, I don't know if I can rewatch this game, but I'll I'll rewatch the highlights.
I am definitely rewatching this game. I want to see everything. So
Yeah,
I'll do
well,
that
maybe
for
you'll have
you.
the sober.
I'll
You
do
do it
that
for
for
me. Maybe
you.
you'll have the sober second thought.
What are you talking about? I'm sober as a judge right now.
Yeah,
I'm sober as
yeah.
a nun in church.
What about a
This,
nun out of church?
oh, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Oh,
All right.
Bombers finally play on Canada Day. It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, yep.
has it been
And
a while since they played on Canada Day? I remember one year they played on Canada Day in 2016. They played the Stamps in Calgary and got their butts kicked.
well, you can't wear red on Canada Day and expect to perform.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
In the words of Tico Napoli, later all. Great
Yeah,
seeing everybody tonight. Tough loss for the Blue Bombers, 30-6. Your
yeah.
final. The Lions are 3-0. The Bombers are 2-1. They're back in action Saturday, July 1st at 6 o'clock Manitoba time in Montreal. So Bonfire midweek Wednesday night, 7:30 live and on podcast afterwards. Chris Walby will join me on Friday afternoon for Game Day Winnipeg, as we always do the day before the game. And then, well, Zach, we're going to give you Canada Day off. We're going to have a different,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have someone, try to fill your shoes on the post game
They
here
can possibly fill
on
my
Canada
shoes.
Day. Yeah. We'll see how that shakes out. All
Yes,
right, buddy.
sir.
You know I
Holiday.
want the magic words and final word to you as always. But great seeing everybody and enjoy your weekend more than maybe you failed to enjoy your Thursday. Your Friday. Well, it's Friday now for you. Your
Yeah,
Thursday.
listen, it's early on in the season. Better to be smacked in the mouth, smacked in the face now than later, right, Darren? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my final thought is this is interesting, right? It makes the league a little more interesting. And will this be a trend or will it be an aberration, as most people say, including you, Darren? I hope it's the latter. And sayonara, everybody. Flush it, bring on the Owls. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't let this ruin a well-deserved weekend, Bomber fans.
Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Sayonara.